If you don't feel safe, everything is a lot harder. This is a foundational piece for men, for humanity, for any person, but because this channel is mostly focused on men, masculinity, developing that masculine essence and cultivating a healthy life, a healthy spiritual life, a healthy physical life, a healthy life across the board. I want to emphasize nervous system regulation. I've made a few videos talking about CPTSD, ADHD, things around the nervous system. The reason I want to come back to it is, again, we're revisiting this topic. It's been almost a year. Well, it's gonna be approaching a year since I made those videos after coming back from El Salvador and realizing, I was in this like hamster wheel, go burnout, and I didn't even realize it. And I kind of did it again, maybe in a different way, but this time I feel like I've reached a new level of regulation, or at least being aware of my own regulation. I don't like this lighting, so I'm gonna change. But what I've noticed in myself, so I was a bit dysregulated. I didn't really even know, again. And if you're watching this channel, it's likely that you probably have the same thing. I think most of us, at least in the US or in these really rise and grind type of countries, don't realize that we are dysregulated, because that's our baseline. It's normal. And especially with us who have CPTSD, although I don't identify with a label, because I believe I don't want to give that label the power, but rather it's a good way to categorize the symptoms, the results of that patterning that we can undo. Now, I know that might sound irresponsible to say, but I'm living proof of it. Not saying I'm perfect and I don't get dysregulated. I just told you I do, but rather there's a lot we can do. That there's a lot that is within our control. There's a lot that we can work within ourselves, and then it'll externally reflect. But I'll give you an example. So even though I wasn't like as dysregulated as last year, I wasn't as aware of my breath, and I wasn't as aware of where my brain was just going. Like, it made it a lot harder to observe my own ego, because I was really deep in it. You know, when I'm not breathing deeply, when I'm not aware of like how I feel, when I'm separated from my body, I feel like I'm more separated from being able to observe the ego, because I'm focusing on like trying to be calm. I'm focusing on trying to not be anxious. I'm focusing on other things. Other more important pressing matters come to the forefront, and it makes sense, right? If it's survival, that's going to be on the forefront, as it should be. We were built to survive. We were built to focus on the things that are going to keep us safe. There's no judgment there. And then like a switch, suddenly I realized, how can I become this masterful masculine guy? How can I learn to be stable? How can I be grounded? How can I embody the values of the superior man? And if you know what I'm talking about, David Data wrote this book, The Way of the Superior Man, and he speaks about the masculine and feminine dynamic. And the masculine dynamic is grounded, it's ordering, it's eternal, it's like consciousness. It's Shiva and Shakti, right? Shakti is the chaotic force, and there's many cultures, many religions, many similar concepts across the board that reflect this duality, this polarity, this dynamic. So I'm not making this up, it's a real thing. And in this book, that is masculinity. And something happened a few weeks ago as I'm going through this spiritual awakening, where suddenly it feels like everything has slowed down and my awareness has blossomed. And I go back and forth, you know, between my ego, a little bit of dysregulation, but I'm much more aware of it. I'm much more aware of it. I was like, wow, prior to March, I wasn't even aware to what degree I wasn't breathing as deeply as I could have been, or to what degree I felt like I was on edge, because that just is normal to some degree. But as I progress in the spiritual journey, suddenly with that awareness and that calmness and that acceptance, the acceptance of what is, I feel like I can breathe, and I'm much more aware of the breath actually coming in down to my diaphragm, and I'm taking these bigger breaths, and I feel like I'm able to observe the ego. And not to say I'm like ascended or like suddenly I'm like, the ego, yeah, I have control over that thing. It's just the awareness that I have, and I'm able to see when I'm judging it, which is ironic, right? I'm judging, the ego is doing this that weird thing. It's just more like, okay, I hear you, all right, I see where you're going. So with this new nervous system regulation, I'm realizing I actually feel grounded. I actually feel, even when I feel any doubt or any negative feelings, or let's say there's a lot that's going through my mind lately, and like a lot of things are dissolving in my life. My ego is a lot of, when it comes to the spiritual work, you just become less and less. I feel like it's like, for me, it's been build, and suddenly that thing that I've built, like I've built a relatively healthy ego, and now it's crumbling away, and I'm just like, no, my hard work. But at the same time, it's a lot lighter. And at the same time, I know it's necessary, a journey. And although I'm kicking and screaming, my ego's kicking and screaming, with these layers starting to come undone, I'm like, whoa, I feel calmer. I feel like, even though it's very difficult, and it is super difficult, like I've I've been grieving, I've been questioning myself, I've been battling with my own ego. Even in that awareness, I'm battling myself, and I'm questioning, and I'm like, is this right, or is this right, or is this I'm questioning so much. Yet in that questioning and in that difficulty, I've been able to stay more grounded, and I've been able to stay like in that eternal type of stable feeling that masculinity has stayed. This really brought me to the point where I'm like, nervous system regulation. Having a regulated system is essential for every man. And I know it sucks for those of us who were dealt the hand of, abuse, neglect, abandonment, all these different things that have caused us to contract and to be unstable and feel ungrounded. It's like you're starting from not even the bottom, you're starting from negative. There's a hole, and you're climbing yourself out of that. It sucks. But cultivating these practices like, meditation that is grounding, not so much one where you're trying to get into the ether and out there, because you need more down here, or grounding, right? Walking on the ground, and doing things with your hands, more hands-on stuff, connecting with nature, learning about plants. These types of practices really start to get you more into that. And that's what I've been doing, because I've been I'm a part of a survival school right now, and it's a lot of outdoor stuff, obviously. And with that, I've noticed more downloads. I've noticed more feeling more regulated, because nature is regulating to us. Being outside is regulating to us humans, because we evolved with nature. We evolved with plants. We evolved with animals. We're an ecosystem. We are meant to take part in this life with plants, not be in a cubicle for 8-9 hours out of a day, if that. Be in a car, separated from everything and everybody. So I feel like that has helped, and that's my words of advice. I invite all of you to connect outside, to really start to notice your breath and practice it at least once a day. Maybe that's one promise you can keep to yourself. Check your breath once a day and be like, oh, I'm breathing shallowly. Let me breathe deeply. Let me get in there and breathe all the way down. Because with me, once I've reached that switch, and I've gone through different phases of regulation. Like it's improved, it's improving. But now that I found kind of like that switch, I'm like, oh my God, I see it. I really see it now. And I feel stable. I feel grounded, even when everything is ungrounded, even when my identity is slowly dying away, even when I'm questioning everything. Like, I feel I'm in the midst of this very strong struggle of polarities, of duality and non-duality. And it's been very, very difficult. I go from one extreme to another, yet I feel grounded, yet I know who I am in the inside. I know, with my nervous system really starting to regulate with the land, I can feel my heart. I can really connect with my heart, and the heart connection is everything. For men, connecting to the heart, it can be very difficult. I think it's more difficult for men than women, but really opening those chambers, opening that chakra, opening this is everything. And with a regulated nervous system, it just becomes so much easier, because you're not constricted, you're open, you're safe, you can go there. It's safe to be in your heart. So I want to emphasize that. If you're judging yourself watching this video because you're like, damn, I don't feel regulated, this is an impossible battle, how I'm gonna do this, that's your ego. Okay, that's your ego. It's normal, it's okay. You're gonna have these doubts, you're gonna have these feelings. I still do to this day, but you work on it every single day, one thing at a time, one step at a time, and you will start to progress. You will start to see, and one day it'll just make sense. It'll like that switch that happened with me, it'll just happen. And suddenly you are able to feel that field around your heart and not be as much in your mind. No, that's a lie. You will be in your mind, but you'll be able to observe it a lot easier. Be able to separate yourself and start to expand with your heart and perceive with your heart, because there is heart perception. The heart has like, correct me, I don't know the terminology, but it has a wider, bigger, higher force field, electrical, whatever force field than the brain. So it only makes sense that we're able to perceive with the heart. We've just lost that skill. And that's one way to actually connect with plants, with your heart. It's a very important way. I hypothesize, I don't really know much about indigenous ways, even though I'm like 50% Native American, but colonization and whatnot, there's been a separation there. But I theorize that the knowing of plants, and indigenous people say that, like, oh, how did you know that plant was good for that? And they say the plant told us. I really think a big part of that is, well, one, the shamanism, but the heart perception. And when you start to perceive with your heart, you can feel the pattern of that plant. I know that sounds crazy. I really recommend you watch videos by Seja Papam, the evolutionary herbalism. He talks about heart perception. You start to see the patterns in plants, like datura, for example. You really get to know. It's not easy. I'm like starting to get into it, but when you connect to the plant, it does have a spirit to it. It does have an essence to it. But anyway, that's a side tangent. That's just more motivation. Hey, let's get regulated, right? Anyway, if you have any questions or any thoughts, or maybe you want to share what has helped you regulate yourself and get more into your heart space, I'd love for you to share down below, just in case anybody reads it. There's only so much I can cover, plus I have a barber appointment, so I gotta go. But anyway, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this, I invite you to subscribe, just because there's going to be more content like this. I'm eclectic, I go everywhere. That's just the name of the game right now. I just hope that this can help someone along the way, the same way that other videos I've watched have helped me. I want to give back. Anyway, I will catch you in the next video.